Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Premier Draft of Dominaria United. Still trying to get a hold on this format. Been between like 1-3 and 4-3 drafts and seals overall, but we'll see if we can't do a little better today. We've got a few pretty solid options to go with. First of all being Legomos Hand of Hatred, a nice black-red, just aggressive card, spinning out a 2-1 trample haste every turn. You do sacrifice at every end step, but you can keep attacking into 2 toughness creatures from your opponent just forever, just perpetually. Frostfist Strider is a really good deal too, though, a 5-mana 4/4 with Ward 2 that taps a creature and stuns it for a turn, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. It's just a really nice card. It's also mono colored to start with. Walking Bulwark is pretty nice. The Defender decks have played incredibly well. There's also some solid duels in here. Talus Lookout being the best common in the pack in blue, and unfortunately our very cool Phyrexian mythic rare vehicle thing there is just not very playable and limited. It takes a very long time to get it to activate. You have to have, I believe, like 4 creatures die, and then it can start attacking and blocking. So for pick 2, we've got one main option I'm a really big fan of, which is Sprouting Goblin. This is 2 mana for a 2/2, and you can kick it to grab a basic land. Well, not a basic land. This is why this card is so good. You can kick this card to search your library for any land card with a basic land type. So this card can tutor out any dual land from your decks if you've drafted the common dual lands that have both creature types. So I really like Sprouting Goblin. Very, very good deal. A 3 mana 2/2 pulls out whatever dual land you need when you cast it. Super, super excellent deal. Love that card a lot. There are other pretty great cards in here, like Citizen's Arrest being a pretty efficient removal spell. Queen Alanol is actually pretty good. The token decks are quite good in the format, and she obviously fits into those pretty well. Colt's Conscript can be good. I haven't had this card be good personally for me, but I've played against some aggro decks that have destroyed me with it. Other than that, Magnagoth Sentry, decent deal on a creature, and the decent little draw spell there. But I'm going with the Sprouting Goblin out of that pack. Pretty excellent stuff in this pack again. We could be blue, red, and green. You can very much play 3-color in this format. And if that is the case, we have access to Impulse being a great instant speed draw spell, Tolarian Terror being a big game ender for these blue decks, Magnagoth Sentry being a very efficient creature, Flowstone Infusion being great removal, or Yavimaya Coast being a fine mana fixing between blue and green. However, I would much prefer just a blue-green common land if that were in here. Not sure what I want to pick here. I think all of those things I just listed are pretty great options. Yeah, I honestly don't know for sure here. I think I'm just going to go with Impulse. It's played pretty dang well for me. Blue has a lot of the cards that are going to make Impulse really good. It has cards like Essence Scatter that you want to hold up during your opponent's turn, and having an Impulse in your hand means you always get to Impulse if you don't end up countering something. Plus, blue has those Tolarian Terrors as their best kind of win condition, and those get cheaper the more instants you have in your deck, so I like that to go with like the Essence Scatter type stuff that blue has. And we could just take an Essence Scatter here. We could also take the Magnagoth Sentry. Bog Badger is another filler creature in green that's similar. It's just 3 mana 3/3 versus 4 mana 4/4. Both pretty good there. I think I'm going to take Essence Scatter to go with this Impulse. Then we're starting with Frostfist Strider, Impulse, and Essence Scatter. Great start towards blue. Don't necessarily have to play this Sprouting Goblin, but I do think it is a great card. Do see a Shield Wall Sentinel here. The Defender's deck is pretty good, so we could scoop that up just to be open to playing it. A deck that just has a mountain of Shield Wall Sentinels and all the common defenders is not going to be a great deck, though. You do need one of the uncommon payoffs between the Wing Mantle Chaplain and the Mill Defender. There's one that mills for each defender you control. There's one that gives you 1/1 flyer for each defender you control. But being speculative on it might not be horrible. We could take a dual land. We could take a Sojourner, because if we are going to be blue, red, green, our domain's going to be pretty high. This should be pretty good. Vine Wall's also fine, and it's better with like Shield Wall Sentinel. If we're going for a blue, red, green card here instead of just the blue card. I think I'm just going to be a little boring here. Just take the blue card for Phyrexian Espionage. Been a pretty big fan of that. This format is slow enough for Divination to be good. Just 3 mana draw 2. So I've liked it. Nothing great in here. Coalition Warbrute's one of my favorite cards in the pack. Just a nice game-ending trampler. Other than that, there's an Academy Wall, which can be fine with a high instant sorcery count and can be fine in the Defender's deck. Yeah, I guess I can just keep cutting blue for now. Another Shield Wall Sentinel we could take to go with the Academy Wall. Nothing phenomenal in any other color, so I'll go for that. Inscribed Tablet is an okay way to pull a land out of your deck. You really need to. Captain's Call is fine. Goblin Picker's fine. Bunch of just fine stuff here. I actually like Mana Worker pretty often for helping hit kicker costs. I'm actually just going to go with Mana Worker. Well, we did Wheel the Bulwark, so that could be a thing that we can do here. The strongest colored card in here is the Writhing Necromancer. It's kind of the spiciest wheel. Maybe we could move into blue-black here. We already have a black kicker with Phyrexian Espionage, but I think I'm going to stay open to a Defender's deck if Bulwark is going to go that late. Take another Phyrexian Espionage now. Another Academy Wall or a very late Flowstone Infusion too. 1 mana +2/-2 at instant speed. That's pretty late for Flowstone Infusion. It's a pretty solid little cheap removal spell, combat tricky sort of thing. Could take a Clockwork Drawbridge for Defenders or Goblin Picker now that red is looking a little open, seeing that late infusion. I think I'm going to speculate towards blue-red here. Get a nice late Shield Wall Sentinel. Defenders is wide open, and the last pick is Coalition Warbrood, a pretty solid red creature, so I think blue and red is the place to be, and we're going to open up an incredible blue-red rare. 3 mana for a 2/2. You can kick it for 1 in a red or 1 in a green, and for each time it was kicked, it comes into play with 2 +1/+1 counters, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain control of target creature with power less than its power for as long as you control it. So for 3 mana, you get a 2/2, and you steal a 1 power creature on your opponent's board forever. Well, for as long as you control the Mindsinger. For 5 mana, you get a 4/4 and steal something that with power 3 or less. And if you get the full 7, you get an incredible deal. This card is absolutely nuts, and it's definitely the pick. Really sad to see it in the same pack as Balmor Battlemage Captain, which would be great, seeing that blue and red seem to be pretty decently open here. We could push into that blue-red spell strategy. And then also Weatherseed Treaty, incredible for like the more 3-color kind of domain deck we could go for with green in here. Some really good other options, but this rare is just phenomenal, and we're going to go with it. Now I think I could take the Tangled Islet here, because now I really do, even if I'm not going for a domain strategy, I really want to have consistent ways to splash in the green kicker of Mindsinger. So any blue-green or red-green dual land is going to be a high pickup for me. So I think I'm going to pick up the Islet here. There is a Flowstone Infusion for decent cheap removal, but we can probably wheel that because we wheeled the last one. And get to Amplifier Might Wheel, and then Sunbathing Root Wall is the most exciting thing that I'm kind of passing here, because if we are in the 3-color deck, these Root Wallers are going to be pretty strong. But currently, we're at a good position to just be blue-red at the core and splash the green. So I'm going to go for the dual land first. Okay, we have another Shield Wall Sentinel. We have Shore Up as a really cheap little trick, which is quite nice. We have Hurler Cyclops. Great with tokens and stuff, which we don't really have. It's kind of just a 5 mana 5/4. Moderately okay ability in our deck. And then there's a Yavimaya Sojourner, which would be great if we splash that in off green. We get cost reduced 3 times pretty easily. So a green and 4, so 5 mana 4/6. That's actually not the craziest splash ever. I think I just take Shore Up. I'm honestly not that excited by the Cyclops or the Branch Rider, or the Sojourner, or the 3rd Shield Wall Sentinel without a huge reason to be defenders right now. Alright, here we go with some excellent lands. Again, I think I'm going to take the red-green land now, or the blue-red land. Either or help us a lot splashing in green. Even just having a blue-red land in the deck, that's going to up our number of blue sources and red sources by 1, which means in order to have a deck that has 10 blue sources and 10 red sources, it'll be easier to do that, which means we'll have more room to just put in straight up forests. So I actually don't know. I haven't done the thought processing on it or heard from any pros, but I'm sure people out there already know the answer. If it's better to help splash by taking a 2 on color one or the half off color. It might be the on color one, because theoretically this is going to up, if we need ideally like 9 blue sources and 9 red sources for our deck to function, this is going to help us get to that number off of just 1 land. Like we start reaching that 9 of each much quicker, which gives us more room to just play a straight up forest. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think either would be pretty good. I think I'm going to go with a Warbrute here, although I don't have a lot of 2-mana creatures. I've got basically 2 because I'm trying to hit green for the Sprouting Goblin too. So I guess I could take the Tide Turner, but I'm not a huge fan of it, so I'm just going to take another Warbrute. Pretty happy to take a Soaring Drake here. If we saw any of the big uncommon defenders that actually do some crazy stuff, we'd be in a great position here. There's just Shield Wall Sentinels everywhere, but we haven't seen them, so Soaring Drake it is. Great duels. Now we'll just take a Wooded Ridgeline. Yavimaya Steel Crusher would be fine, Shore Up would be fine. Phoenix Chick would be pretty bad. It doesn't really do anything unless you're attacking with 3 or more creatures. And that is not something you can consistently do in Limited, so take a Wooded Ridgeline. These Slimefoot surveys are very, very slow. That's why I haven't been taking them. Plus, it would be our off color helping us splash, which doesn't make much sense. We'd want one of our main 2 colors to help splash. I think I'm going to take Infusion here, although our mana is getting good enough we could start taking Root Wallas. I think I take Infusion first. I do really like Sunbathing Root Walla, though. Murktide Scorn is actually fine in this format. It's definitely slow enough for 3-mana counter spells. I think I take that over Jaya's Fire Nado, which is also a fine card. I don't know. We've got a lot of sorcery speed stuff we're tapping out quite often. Maybe it is Fire Nado. I don't know. Still going with Scorn. Another pick between Flowstone Infusion and Sunbathing Root Walla. Just have triple Infusion in this deck. Yeah, I don't know about the triple Infusion. Let's grab our first Root Walla this time. And I'll just have a million Shield Wall Sentinels for no reason. Gaia's Might's actually pretty solid in here too, though. That's something to consider. I don't really like main decking Negate, and this is a best of 1 draft, so I would have to main deck it to play it. Defiler of Vigor, a big green bomb, but it costs double green. 5 mana for a 6/6 trample, that's already bomb worthy. And every time you cast a green permanent, you get a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Each creature, it says. Well, I guess I'm taking that. It's really only competing with a Soaring Drake. Keldon Strike Team isn't good unless you're red and white, so yeah, it's Defiler, Vigor, or Soaring Drake, so Defiler of Vigor it is. Oof. Another on-color rare, the Elder Dragon War. 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer is the worst possible deal you're getting out of this. Just make it Chapter 3 immediately. Sometimes you can one-sided Wrath with the first part of the saga, sometimes you get some good card filtering and card selection with the second part. Elder Dragon War is sweet, and if that weren't in this pack, we'd probably just take like a Haunted Mire for Domain or Gaia's Might or something. Not the craziest pack ever, just take Elder Dragon War pretty easily. Okay. This pack is a lot more empty for us. There's another Mana Worker, a Sojourner, a Colossal Growth, and a Negate. Guess I just take a Sojourner. I'm starting to get a little more green at this point. Become kind of fully 3-color. Another Essence Scatters, pretty solid. Jodas Codex is pretty dang slow, especially for this deck. We only have 3 land types. Could take Sacred Peaks for Domain, which would help with Root Walla and Sojourner only, basically. Doesn't feel like enough things where I really want that. This red-green rare doesn't do anything unless you have a ton of artifacts. We've got a few, but I'm probably cutting most of them. I think I just take Essence Scatter. I don't think Deathbloom Gardener makes the most sense in here. Deathbloom Gardener does make sense as a mana dork when green is your primary color, but again, when it's our least represented color, green is the color that we need to hit with our mana dorks, not the color we need our mana dorks to be. None of these lands work for us, unfortunately. They all would help with Domain if we cared that much about it, but I don't think we do. I think I just take Miria's Outrider here. Just a big, solid 5 mana, 4/4 reach, really nice blocker, really nice attacker, gets some damage in right when it hits the board too. Now I actually have like 3 things that care about Domain, so I could go for the Beachfront. Beachfront, Interference, Flowstone Kavu. Probably the big 3 here. What's our creature count? 17? Our creature count's actually kind of low. So I think I take Kavu. Because I'm pretty sure I'm cutting all this Defender nonsense. Because we don't have a single card that actually cares about having all these Defenders on board. Monstrosity can be fine, Sojourner can be fine, Barkweave Crusher can be fine. Illusionist is also very just okay. I think I'm going to take another Sojourner. Another Flowstone Infusion's pretty nice here. I'll take a third copy of that. Why not? Okay, a bunch of stuff I won't play, so I'm going to rare draft. Just the highest rarity card. Bunch of stuff I probably won't play, but we'll take the filler creature. Guy's Might again is a pretty good combat trick, but in this deck it's just Giant Growth +3/+3 for 1 mana, but even that is actually kind of good. Definitely have Negates as an option. Another Mana Worker. These Mana Workers can really help us cast the double green Defiler Vigor. That's the hardest mana cost in this deck, but it's probably worth it with double Mana Worker. Maybe not. I mean, we don't have enough green permanents to get the second ability to happen that often. We obviously have the Dream Curve where we play Defiler Vigor on turn 5 and then Sojourner on turn 6, but I just really don't know how often that's going to happen. We have 3 other green permanents in the entire deck to work with the Defiler, so maybe it isn't even worth it. I didn't manage to see a single copy of Tolarian Geyser, which is pretty awkward because that's like kind of a huge card for the blue-red deck. Really nice tempo swing. Yeah, so the only real defender payoff we got was the Bulwark, which was kind of the worst payoff, and we got some of the worst defenders to work with it. Just the 3/3 ones. We have one of the 0/5s, so that would be a 5/5 with Bulwark, but I don't know, I don't think the whole defender thing is happening at all. It was just so widely open, we took most of those relatively late, and it was like, well, if I open up one of the big payoffs, we're completely set up. We could have even had more of the Sentinels, but I guess nobody opened up the good payoffs in our draft pod. I'm thinking we just cut down on green. We could even just cut green entirely to make the deck building really simple. But then our Sprouting Goblin's not good. And we've got these duels. Play at least a little bit of green. Maybe we don't need the Mana Worker anymore. Don't think the Defiler's super splashable. Do I just cut a couple Sojourners and just play a Root Wall, or do I cut the Root Wall and play one Sojourner in this deck? I could also just keep all of these. These are 5-drops. I don't know if we like cut one of those 5-drops and then we just cut one blue or red card. Probably cut one non-creature card at this point. Probably a Shore Up. Or a Flowstone Infusion. 3 might be a little much. 2 Shore Up feels like a lot. 3 Flowstone Infusion feels like a lot too. I guess I'll just cut one Shore Up, and then this is a deck. Very average looking kind of blue-red deck at the core, but our green splash lets us do some pretty nasty things, particularly with Vidalian Mindsinger as a pretty big Mega Bomb. And then we've got the Elder Dragon War for a red bomb as well. We've got good rares in here. Don't feel super bad about this one. Doesn't feel excellent, doesn't feel terrible. We'll go for it. We've got 11 blue cards, 10 red cards, and 2 green. And currently we have 6, 7, 8 blue sources and 6, 7, 8 red sources. 8, 8. Seems perfectly fine to me. That's 4 green sources. Yeah. I'll take it. 8-8 split. That's the mana base. That's the deck. Let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. Alright, here we are in game 1 with absolutely phenomenal mana. Just a ridiculous mana base in this hand. So a Snap Keep. We have a turn 2 Sunbathing Root Wall and a turn 3 Phyrexian Espionage. So we've got a nice way to start the game off as well. Root Wall has already got the 3 out of 3 domain that we have in this deck. as does the Sojourner. Now we've got super consistent curve. Fortunately, the tap lands are kind of painful here. Stop us from playing Espionage this turn. That's fine, because Espionage wasn't really affecting the board state anyway. But having to play these creatures off curve is going to be a little more painful than that, so hopefully we can draw some untapped lands for those. If not, I can still just Espionage next turn, which is fine. Our opponent is on Jun, green, black, and red. You never know with the dual lands, they can always just be for upping domain. So they could just be black and red. If you see a basic land of any kind, that basically always means that they are that color in this format. Oof, great draw here. Absolutely take it. I'd rather draw 2 cards here than have to cast a Shore Up. So I'm just going to pass. Like, I could attack here if I'm convinced that they're just not going to block and I can deal 2 damage, but I'm pretty sure. Phyrexian Rager is a cheap enough creature. It already gave them value by drawing a card that you'd almost always just offer that trade there, or just take that trade there and be like, yeah, if they use a combat trick, that's fine. I've traded Rager into a combat trick. So I really didn't want to end up in a position where I had to cast Shore Up instead of the draw spell. Barricade's pretty annoying. I think I just shut that down with Strider for now. Seems fine by me. Big fan of this hand. We got all kinds of stuff we can play around with. We've got both of our big rares as well, should they be necessary. Well, Elder Dragon War is going to be kind of huge here. I think I want to try to just Elder Dragon War right now. And I'm going to Shore Up to save my Root Walla. Good old 3-for-1. We've killed 3 of their cards at the cost of 1 Shore Up. And I wouldn't even count that as, like, having spent the Dragon War, because the main value of this is it's gonna give us a 4/4 flyer still. So kind of a 3-for-1 there. Really big work from the Elder Dragon War. The Blight Pile has arrived to start dealing damage to us for the number of defenders they control, and the Urborg Repossession, huge value play. Picking up 2 creatures from their graveyard and putting them back in their hand. I need this land to double kick Mindsinger, and I might just do that right now and take Blight Pile. So I'm not going to discard it. Yeah, let's just do that right now, I think. Alright, they're scooping them up, they're over it. They're like, are you kidding me? Elder Dragon War into Veldarian Mindsinger? And I am not kidding them. That is what we have managed to draft over here. Here we are now in game 2. We've got the Elder Dragon War in our hand again. Gonna have to need a lot of work done by this Impulse and Espionage, but having them both in hand makes me feel more comfortable about the mana situation. I can Impulse, pull out any land out of the top 4, then use that land to cast these Phyrexian Espionages to make it the rest of the way. Now that I know I can cast Espionage next turn, I'm pretty tempted to just drop Root Walla and then start drawing 2 each turn. Alright, and just live the dream here. Immediately hit the red source so I can just keep curving out creatures for now. And then just slam all of my draw spells until I hit the second red for Elder Dragon War. Seems good. Niel Avazoa Aeronaut. Unfortunately, I don't have any good ways to kill that. Now I already have the way to get the Elder Dragon War. That's pretty spicy. Playing untapped land here, I am threatening Root Wallet being a 5/5 on attacks. But if I do that, I don't have the double red up for Dragon War next turn. I feel like I'm supposed to just play Elder Dragon War next turn, so I think I attack with just Kavu. They have to double block. I guess if they do double block it, since I don't have any tricks, all I do is kill Prodigy. So, I mean, I guess I just draw cards. Awkwardly enough, I could make an attack where I, like, pretend I have a trick by sending in Kavu, but a little too risky for my blood. Alright, Niall's gonna start putting in work, basically scrying 3 every turn. Since they have 3 land types, they look at the top 3, put 1 back on top and the rest on the bottom. 2 damage to everything doesn't seem terrible right now. I could also just make the flyer so I can block Niall. But I really think I want to do 2 damage to everything soon. Might want to just set up even more. Take another card draw turn. See if, ooh, yeah, see if I could get something like a Flowstone Infusion, where now I could Infusion Niall and cast Elder Dragon War, then I kill their whole board. I do kill my own Root Walla, but I also kill their entire board, so probably worth it. So yeah, just a setup turn here. And then we pass. Now this next turn is going to be Flowstone Infusion, Elder Dragon War, clear everything out. Hopefully they play 1 or 2 more 2 toughness creatures. That would be the absolute dream here. That is a 4 toughness creature. That is far from the dream. That's actually an issue. Any blocks that they make are good for me, because I am going to Elder Dragon War here. So Root Wall is going to die anyway. So just if they happen to block with Elfame Worm, this is going to be great. If they don't, then that's fine. We'll just Elder Dragon War, because the Root Wall was going to die regardless. I might have to actually Infusion the Worm instead of the Niall. That feels extra painful, extra rough. I suppose I should have attacked with Kavu as well. If I'm going to end up just killing the worm here anyway. The reason I didn't attack with Kavu is because I thought, well, maybe I won't kill the worm and I'll need it to help prevent some damage. Hey, I'm at 12 life. I have to just kill the bigger creature. Was not how I hoped that would go. It's just big old 5/4 Vigilance Trample was just a really good play for last turn to get around our Elder Dragon War, clearing their board. Now we had to select one of their 2 massive threats to deal with. Shore up. Don't really do anything. At least we get to just full draw 3 here. We get a Sojourner and 2 more lands. Could play a Warbrute Figment and hold up Shore Up. They've gotten all 5 colors now. Yeah, Niall just steals it now then. Again, Niall's a really, really big deal. I just think I needed to kill the Elfame Worm because otherwise I was taking 5 a turn. be at like 5 life right now. But I guess I'd have the blockers up for the worm at this point. Maybe killing Niall instead of the worm would have been better in the end. I don't know. We do have the flyer to block Niall now, and the shore up to make sure they can't just kill it. Auto tapper is so bad in this format. Oops. My tapping is so bad in this format. There we go. Auto tapper wanted to tap 2 of our blue sources for that. So I need this to block that. I need this to block that. Nothing else can really get in. I guess I could send in a 5/5 Warbrute. Yeah, I suppose. 5/4 Warbrute. My bad. Alright, fair trade. That's oh my god, I hate the auto tapper in this format. Auto tapper wanted to tap double blue for the scatter and not hold up shore up. I guess they're tapped out anyway, but still. Ooh, watch it tap triple blue. Okay, it's not tapping triple blue. Yeah, that's a pretty absolutely astronomical deal here. They're tapped out and we get to jam this thing out and just attack with everybody. Oh my god, we might actually be getting there. We don't know what's in their hand, but this is a lot of damage. They're at 4 life. All of our creatures threaten 4 damage. By the skin of our teeth. Oh my god. Alright, I guess it was, I mean, I don't know if it's objectively correct, but it was pretty solid to blow up the Elfame Worm instead of the Niall. They were getting to set up their draws into whatever the best cards of their top 4 were. Pretty much every turn, they even got to full-on draw a card when they dropped the Sunlit Marsh. But I guess whatever card advantage they were managing to pull off Niall was just not as impactful cards as all these 4-power creatures we got to drop down there, and we still had the shore up as a backup, so feels really nice in the end there. All right, I'll take it. 2-0, heading into round 3. Here we are in game 3. We have a turn 2 Essence Scatter, turn 3 Soaring Drake. All 3 of our colors, but I need another blue source for Urtai's Scorn. On the draw, Essence Scatter's a lot worse on the draw than it is on the play. I feel like I still keep this, because the mana is pretty nice. It's close though, it's pretty slow. We're not really doing anything till our turn 3 on the draw. That's a turn 2 Raft, nothing we can do about that. You hate to see it. That card can absolutely take over the game in more than one way. Either drawing a ton of cards or buffing the field and giving it vigilance so that you get to attack in really wide and hold up blockers. I'm guessing a deck with Wrath is more than happy to run Essence Scatter, so we might just get scattered here. The alternative is to hold up a scatter, and if we don't scatter something, we do absolutely nothing with our turn, so I'm just going to go for a Kavu and watch it get scattered. Ooh, Protect the Negotiators. I'm actually much happier with that than if it got scattered, because that's a counterspell that actually could hit our Dragon War. So we've gotten one potential Dragon War countering spell out of their hand. That being said, Dragon War is just going to kill a single 1/1, or I just make a 4/4 flyer here. Blue is really good against the Dragon War because all of their bounce spells will permanently kill our token. So I really, really, really want to try to get value off of the 2 damage ability, if at all possible. So I think I just slam down a Soaring Drake here and pass. Yeah, if I slammed down the Dragon War, made a 4/4 token, and they responded by geysering my token, that would have been a disastrous turn. So, pretty glad I didn't just run out the Dragon War. Now that I have a Shore Up, it's a little more interesting, a little more appealing. But I also have the mana to recast Drake and hold up Scatter, so I'll just do that. Still give my opponent more time to make more 1/1s. Opponent is living the card advantage dream here. They've drawn a card off Geyser, drawn a second off of Wrath. I do get to Essence Scatter a Zaro Janin, so that's a good deal. This is a pretty big threat. Makes their whole board bigger every time it becomes tapped. So that was a really nice Essence Scatter. Pretty happy with that. Don't have the mana to hold up Urtai's Scorn and cast anything else, unfortunately. Could hold up a Shore Up and still cast a Miria's Outrider. That seems fine. I'd prefer not to have to Shore Up right now. I'd prefer they just don't block, but if they do, I will absolutely cast it. But yeah, I would prefer to just save Shore Up for later so that I have it to use with my my Dragon token. That would be the ideal, is if I get to still have my Hexproof trick for when they try to bounce my Dragon token later. If they try to bounce my Dragon token later. Yeah, now I've got solid blocks for everything on board. Opponent is getting some great card advantage here still, though, with a Vine Shaper Prodigy. But now I get to kill 2 things with the Elder Dragon War, so all is not lost. A little bit of extra Elder Dragon War value. Ooh, massive amount of extra Elder Dragon War value. Let's go. Slam dunk Elder Dragon War. 3 for 1 here. More like a 2.5 for 1. Killing 2 actual creatures and 1 token, but still a pretty good deal when they have a Wrath on the board. Okay, I can't really attack in right now unless I want to cast a Shore Up when they go for a block. Schley's Acolyte, that's a big one, and unfortunately I'm 1 mana off from countering that, so that will be on board. That is a huge deal. Flowstone Infusion. Pretty sure we keep that. I might discard Urtai's Scorn. Probably wrong. Guess I just hold on to it and pass. Yeah, I was not prepared for the Acolyte. Really wanted to get the Elder Dragon War for the 2.5 or 3 for 1 done while they were completely tapped out, so they couldn't use like Wrath or anything. So I think that was still the right play, but obviously didn't pan out for us not having Urtai's Scorn mana up for the Acolyte. They do not have the mana to buff another time with Wrath, so this has to be another trick from my opponent. I guess we'll find out what it is. It has to be a combat trick that buffs their own creature. If they're in green, white, and blue, it could be +3/+3 off of Gaia's Might. That would be a 6/7, 4, 5, 6. Could not beat a 6/7. I can counter whatever trick it is, though. Yeah, just block here. Just going wide, trying to deal some damage. Okay. I think I let this resolve and infusion it, although I might want to infusion Shore Up to kill Acolyte. I think I infusioned that. I'm going to have a 4/4 flyer as well here, so I can also just double block Acolyte and then counter whatever combat trick. They only have enough mana to use Wrath once still. so I just have to deal with a 6/7 flyer, and I have 10 power that can block in the sky. Thank you, Arena. Very cool auto tapping. We need triple blue up to cast both of these. Once again, my #1 recommendation for this format is to pay very close attention to what auto tapper is trying to do. I'm gonna let that resolve. Maybe I shouldn't, because they get to draw a card off the top, but this 2/2 doesn't affect the game in almost any way. And I really want to be able to stop a trick on Acolyte. If they have that. Now my game plan is just start sending in a Root Walla. That is more impactful than Prodigy. And they're out of cards in hand. Yeah, I'll scorn that. I think my game plan now is to just start using Root Walla. I guess it's only a 5/5 though, so it doesn't actually get through their 5/6. Awkwardly. Maybe I could trick them into them thinking that I don't know that it's only a 5/5 here. They could just be like, oh, this guy plays a lot of domain, he just thinks this thing's a 7/7. What a fool. Oh, yep. What a fool I am. Oops. That's not big enough. Yes, it is. And now we have free reign in the sky. They're just gonna scoop them. They really didn't like that one. They really didn't like that one. That was a snap scoop the second that shore up happened. I think because of that snap scoop, they were pretty sure they got the outplay. They were like, you didn't do your math right. And they're like, wait a second. That was a pretty nasty way to end that game. 3-0 now. Really nice record to start off this draft. We'll see if we can keep it up, get a few more wins here as we head into round 4. Here we are in round 4. This is a pretty slow hand. I don't love that, but I'm pretty sure I have to keep it for how impactful the plays are, specifically Vidalian Mindsinger, the biggest bomb in our deck. Frostfist Strider has always been huge, and the Sojourner, obviously just straight up huge, just a big dork. Now at least we have a turn 3 play. We've got a Soaring Drake to get down. Do need to hit another blue source at some points. Now I've got a Flowstone Infusion for some cheap removal. This a Lightning Strike fires a victory, basically the same thing. At least they had to drop that before they could kick it later. This card is really, really powerful when you kick it, because it's a removal spell and you draw a card off of it. Unkicked, a little more narrow, a little weaker than Lightning Strike unkicked in my opinion, because of the narrowness. Yeah, we need another blue source before we can do anything, so let's just infuse the Cavalier. Make sure we've dealt with everything on board right now. Fingers crossed for a blue source. Splatter Goblin is a-okay. Not a blue source, but it's a creature to drop. 4/4 reach or 4/6? Let's just drop a 4/6. The bigger, the merrier. Feeling very Christmassy right now. I know Halloween is the next season, but let's get all Santa Claus style. Get all big and merry. Defiler of Instinct. No! The one turn I dropped my Essence Scatter down. It always happens. That's not that bad though. 4/6 is good against it. I can also steal it once I double kick this at 7, which I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 1 mana away from stealing that thing. Could Strider that thing. Again, I won't be holding up Scatter, but then if I don't have to scatter something, I'm doing absolutely nothing with my turn. Yeah, let's stride it down. The secondary effect of the Defiler of Instinct is every time they cast a red permanent, they get to deal 1 damage to any target. That doesn't really do anything against 4/6s and 4/4s, so. Creature or Planeswalker? Wow, that's brutal. Make us discard the Mindsinger. We don't get to steal the... Whoa! They must have removal for the Mindsinger if they want to shoot the Outrider. Uh-oh. Show me the root removal for the Vidalian Mindsinger then. that's gotta be what this is. Well, now they know we don't have Essence Scatter up. And at least now they have to kill Mindsinger, and when they kill the Mindsinger, they just get the Defiler back tapped, so I get another attack with both my 4/4s. Both my 4 power creatures, I guess one is a 4/6, one is a 4/4. Yeah, having an Essence Scatter that your opponent knows about is definitely a lot less powerful than normal. Oh, they're over it, they're done. They don't have a good enough card to tutor up to kill the Mindsinger. Or they just realize if they tutor a card up, they go to 11, and then they spend their turn killing Mindsinger, take another 8 because their only creature's tapped, they go to 3 life. Well, it's going to be an uphill battle there, and it's going to be 4-0 for us. Alright, here we go, game 5. We have Vidalian Mindsinger in hand, so I'm going to keep the hand. Again, it is slow. This could be a problem. Don't think I can mull away the Mindsinger. This is extra slow, though. Unless they play something cheap enough that I could just play, like, one-time kicked Mindsinger. Well, if I get a red source, now we've got sort of a plan here. Kick this Sprouting Goblin in the early game. And I believe we have 8 red sources in the deck, so one of the more likely sources to draw at this point. Our opponent is on blue-white. They have started with a 2-drop. Luckily, their turn 3 play doesn't affect the board, it's just some card draw. And we did draw into a 3-mana blocker. Their 2-drop, though, can't be blocked very often. Alright, Talus Lookout, we can block that here then. So, yeah, we're all good. No damage this turn. Missed a land drop here, though, that is pretty painful. Just drop a Rootwalla. Did get an additional blocker, at least. Pass turn. And all I really need is to hit 1 red source, and then the world is my oyster. We kick a Sprouting Goblin, that'll hit another land after that. That'll make sure we can drop Frostfist Strider and Miria's Outrider and Yavimaya Sojourner in the next few turns, and having that kind of list of plays is probably good enough to keep us around long enough to make it to the mana we need to kick a Mindsinger. Ooh, the reverse 2-for-1. That feels pretty good. I was like, I'm just going to make this block here, and it's kind of fine as just a trade, and then if they try to do any tricks because it's their turn with all this mana up, we can ruin them, and we certainly did ruin that trick. Feels pretty nice shutting off the timely interference. They didn't even get to draw the card for casting that. They do have another Talus Lookout, though. That is less exciting. And we still don't have a red source, which is pretty bad here. I mean, I guess we're just attacking with Rootwalla. Only gets +2/+2 though. That's still big enough to kill both their creatures if they double block. And if they single block, I just pump and kill whatever they blocked with, because I have nothing else to cast this turn anyway. Alright. I guess I should have pumped for the 2 damage. Again, because I have nothing else to cast this turn. That was not the worst misclick or the worst skip through ever. Unless my opponent wins this game with 2 or less life. But this could make my opponent consider playing around things that I don't actually have. If they're like, why would he not pump the Rootwalla? I just forgot. That's the true answer, but opponent might have some other questions like, do I have an Essence Scatter here? And if I have an Essence Scatter, they might play their weaker creature instead of their stronger creature this turn. Give us a little more time. Again, a misplay. But I can make the most of it and make them really think I might have Scatter or something here, by not just immediate resolving that Tura. If I get any land, kicking a Mindsinger once to take a Tura is pretty spicy. Our opponent probably has... They definitely have a 1-mana card in hand if they're tanking this long, but they probably have like a Shore Up at this point, where they could just counter that kicker ability if I tried to do it. That would be pretty rough. Pretty sure we slam this block. If it's a second Timely Interference, that'll be pretty bad for me, but if it's a Shore Up, it's actually just like good to get it out of the way before I try to Mindsinger the Tura. I guess it's good to get the Timely Interference out of the way too, because if I cast a Mindsinger and they Timely Interference the Mindsinger to make it 3 power instead of 4, I won't even get to steal the Sky Knight, so we just make this block and let them use their trick here. They're not going to use the trick, fair enough. Well, 1 mana in my opponent's hand. I think I have to play around Shore Up and wait on the Mindsinger. Play an Outrider to do some damage to them and be able to block their flyer, and then they can't really get in or do anything for now, so we'll do that. Can't think of a 1 mana way to counter a creature spell in this format. Unless Tura makes them cheaper. Nope, Tura does not reduce the cost of any instants or sorceries. Yeah, the only blue instants I can think of right now are -1/-0 draw a card and +1/+1 hexproof untap. It is -1/-0 draw a card. Well, glad I didn't just slam down Mindsinger. And they just went ahead and just cycled it just to get a 1/1 draw card, so that played out pretty well for us. Because they could have used it to save their Talus Lookout earlier. But they were holding it for a better use and just didn't find one, so they just cycle it here. So that is pretty dang nice. Actually, that might have been thanks to us thanks to us not tapping out for Root Wall. They were just playing around extra stuff. So yeah, the reason I'm going for this block here is because I think most of what they could have would be the 1 mana blue instants, in which case they'd need 2 to win this fight, and 1 would be just a 2-for-1 trade. So yeah, I make that block, force them to have 2 different of the blue tricks to win the fight, and even if they have the 2 different tricks, they had to spend 2 tricks to win the one fight there, which is probably fine. Okay, so now 5 mana to kick Mindsinger. That's almost definitely what we do now. Now that they're tapped out, 1 card in hand. Yep, I'm gonna have 1 mana up for no reason, but whatever. I can't pay the full kicker. Things are going pretty okay right now. I'd say things are pretty even. Stall for Time's a good one. That does put things a little in my opponent's favor. But while their board state is a solid bit better than mine now, I've got more strong cards in hand for almost certain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Taking a good bit of damage, but I think I can slow them down enough with Frostfist Strider if their card draw off of Stall for Time wasn't just an Essence Scatter or another counter spell here. Yeah, if this isn't a counter spell, I should have a pretty good turn this turn. I'll have 7 mana. It's only enough to cast 1 card anyway, so I think I play the Strider. It's the best card at slowing them down. We hope they do not have a counterspell as their top deck from Stall for Time. And they don't, so we stop the flyer, stop multiple ground creatures. Could even play a 2/2 just to have another blocker. Give up on drawing the card off of it, but if I draw the card off of it next turn, I can play it and Sojourner in the same turn. Right, 5 plus 3, yeah. So, might be moderately greedy to do this, but on board I'm only taking 2 damage, holding 2 blockers up. Runic Shot as the draw does change that a lot. Change the board state a lot at least. They get their Tura back. Yeah, now we probably are just dead. I just do my thing. Kick my goblin to thin our deck out so we have less lands. And then we drop the Sojourner. I'm at 9 life facing 5 power in this guy. I die in 2 attacks. I gotta try getting some damage into my own. Don't need damage and bad enough to try to trade Root Walla into a 1-1 though. They just block with a 1-3 and a 1-1 and kill Root Walla. Alright, well we got a little bit of damage in. Straight gas over there. Runner to kill our best creatures and steal back their own card. You're at 2 life now. And Counterspell not going to change anything. That is game 4 and 1 now. Just needed our opponent to hit a little less removal in the end there, but close game otherwise. Here we are in game 6, pretty awkward mana in this hand. I'm probably going to mulligan this one. Sure, I've got an infusion to stop some early game damage, but then I don't do anything till turn 4 or 5 unless I hit an island. I'm going to mulligan this one. And this looks pretty good. We can get rid of the double blue card. Yep, everything else is castable if I hit any color instead of specifically a blue source. Very adorable sleeves from my opponent. Alright, drop a Haunting Figment. 1 mana blue card that can target a creature, Shore Up or Untimely Interference. Ooh, time to shoot a Mana Dork and hold up an Essence Scatter. I generally like killing Mana Dorks quite a bit in this format, because later in the game it's just going to trade into one of our big creatures anyway, and in the early game it matters a lot because it's going to ramp them into their bigger plays early and potentially hit off-color cards that they don't have the mana for yet. I will happily Essence Scatter Nashoba Brawler, that is already a 4-4, a 4-3 trample, sorry. And now we can freely tap out for whatever creature we want without feeling bad about not holding up our counterspell. Four mana from our opponent now. They have every land type except for a plains for domain cards. So the world is their oyster. I say that a lot. That's a weird saying. And my chair likes to yell at us a lot whenever I pick myself up in my chair. Alright, Rona's Vortex. We get to say goodbye to our Coalition Warbrute pretty much forever. I could shuffle it back into my deck by using Sprouting Goblin here, and I do want to keep hitting lands for this Mindsinger. I think Sprouting Goblin is fine this turn. Maybe I'm supposed to play the Soaring Drake first because it's less likely they play a creature that can block it, but I like getting more lands towards this Mindsinger. And I can play a tapped land this turn pretty freely. We have 1 red source and 1 green source, so we grab red, green, and then we have double of both. Sure. Actually, triple blue is probably more important than double green. I should have grabbed a red-blue land here. Vine Shaper Prodigy, that is a good one. Very nice 2-for-1. They have a 2-2 on the board ready to trade into one of our creatures, and they get to draw another card. But Frostfist Strider is also a good one, an excellent draw for us to lock that down and just keep chipping in for damage while playing the biggest creature in our hand. Opponent is now down to 10. They have 5 cards in hand. They have drawn quite a bit of stuff here. They are going to Fires of Victory and pay for the ward to do exactly 4 damage to the 4/4. Alright, we've got a Shore Up now. Hit for 4 again, puts them to 6 life. Drop a Soaring Drake holding up Shore Up. And then I have a Mind Singer to steal one of their blockers next turn and try to get in for lethal. They are at 6 life, facing 6 power on our board, however they can block 2 of it. Currently. If they tap out for another removal spell, say they tap out for Jaya's Inferno or something, Shore Up could really get us there. I am going to Shore Up in response to this to counter their card draw and keep our creature on board. Because they're tapping, they aren't completely tapping out, but they're tapping enough mana here. They might get into a position where they are tapped out from playing another creature, and they are in that position, but they did have to, or they did get to kill our flyer. But yeah, I can hit them down to 2 life now thanks to the Mind Singer, so that is definitely the play. Now they need to kill Mind Singer very badly. And even if they kill Mind Singer, they have 1 blocker against our 2 attackers. And if we can draw an instant or sorcery, the Haunting Figment will be unblockable. Yeah, they're going to scoop them up. Just really efficient stuff from our deck that game. Just curving out well, getting a good cheap Essence Scatter in there. Just good interaction when we needed it. The Flowstone Infusion to shoot the Mana Dork. A lot of good stuff, and we're going to be 5-1. We are officially up in gyms. We're in the money for the first time in quite a few limited events, just because it's really hard to be in the money in sealed, and I haven't been doing that well in Dominaria United Premier Drafts, so nice to be in the money again. So we're going to be going back up to over 20k in gyms at least. But we'll see if we can't keep it up as we head into round 7. Yep, 5 wins, 1 loss. This will be game 7. Alright, here we are in game 7. I will keep this hand. We have both of our main colors. If I can hit the green source, got a very good Sprouting Goblin. If we don't hit it though, we can still Soaring Drake, Espionage. Still got plans for turn 3, turn 4, etc. Definitely going to Impulse trying to hit a green source here. No green source available. Well, I already have 4 lands in hand, so I think I'm pretty good to just take like another 5-drop like Miria's Outrider or Yavimaya Sojourner. I think Outrider's a little bit better because we don't have a green source yet, and we don't know when we will. Very tempted to just Espionage, but I've got a play for this turn, so we'll go for that. We can Espionage next turn. This way I actually get a little bit of damage in as I draw some cards. Cut Down. Goodbye, Soaring Drake. Cut Down is a very cool card. It's seeing a lot of play in Standard, I hear. It's a very, very neat card. Ooh, Micromancer's a very good card in Limited. A lot of good 1-mana instants and sorceries. And just a 4-mana 3/3 that draws a card, already an excellent deal for Limited, so they picked up a Shore Up. Which is a pretty good card. We're going to have to just draw some cards here and hope for the best. There we go, there's the green source. Drew into another counterspell as well. Coral Colony, uh-oh. Uh-oh, are we playing against Esper Defenders? Are we playing against one of the strongest archetypes in the cube? Defenders. When you see a Coral Colony, you kind of have to assume. So what's the plan here? We have 2 counter spells, but if I don't end up countering anything during my opponent's turn, I end up doing nothing with my turn. I think maybe I Sprouting Goblin? Because I can Sprouting Goblin and still hold up a Scatter. Opponent still has 3 mana untapped as well, so they could counter whatever I play. Let's start off nice and easy and just go for a Sprouting Goblin and see what happens. Resolves. I've got triple red already, I've got double blue already, I've got 1 green. Let's take a 3rd blue. I don't actually think I want a tapped land. So I want to be able to do a lot of things because I have so many cards in hand. If a tapped land keeps me from double spelling, that'll be pretty bad. Okay. I can infusion their wall after they block. So this turn we go for just attack in, let the Coral Colony block, post-combat Flowstone Infusion the colony, and then drop a Frostfist Strider. Feels like where I want to be here. Okay, they're going to block. See if we can get them tapped out for a counterspell here, and then we can infusion afterward. I don't know which I would rather. I would probably rather infusion get countered than Strider, because they're only milling 1 a turn max. I'm at 23 cards in deck currently. I guess they just shore up here. We get rid of the shore up from their hand. I could counter it though. Better to counter the shore up. If I counter the shore up, I'm still holding up Essence Scatter. It might be solid to just counter the shore up. Playing it pretty slow here, but just making sure that this defender's gone so we can actually hit our opponent and we're not getting milled out. Okay, they're going to mill me 1. There goes a land. Okay. Coral Colony is gone. They have 3 cards in hand. We have 5. They are dealing more damage to me than I am to them. My apologies. Let me turn my phone down here while I'm recording. All right. Yep, that's a scatter. Okay. 2 cards in their hand. I've got another scatter. I don't have a cheap enough creature to play and hold up a scatter, though. Our opponent could have their own scatter. I think Miria's Outrider would be okay if they scatter that. Or scatter that. Let's get the Goblin in first. Because it's not blocking. It's a 2-2 against a 3-3. Now we Outrider. Alright, no scatter. Tribute to Urborg it is. They'll hit us for 3 again. We're down to 8. And another Coral Colony. Okay. Now I have the mana to cast Strider and hold up Essence Scatter. I also have the mana to double kick a Mindsinger. I think I am doing that later. I think I'm tapping down the colony, so I hit with Goblin this turn, and they can't attack with Micromancer because I have a 4/4 up. We have a scatter for whatever creature they play. Next turn we kick Mindsinger, take their only creature, draw some more cards with our Espionage. Feel like we're at the worst life total. Wow, and they just keep hitting removal here, but I still, even after Extinguish the Light, feel like we're in the lead here. Eldritch Dragon War as well. So even if this doesn't pop off, I've got a 4/4 flyer afterward. I'm going to kick this just 1 time, so I can still hold up Essence Scatter, I think. Because I also only need to kick it once to take the Micromancer and have a firm lead on the board state. All right, now they have missed. And yeah, since they missed a draw here, now we're just kind of free reign to just go wild. Flowstone Infusion was another excellent draw. We get to use that post-combat. Flowstone Infusion is a big overperformer in this format. Not only is it like just cheap against the little aggressive creatures, but it's really good against defenders, which ended up being quite good in this format. Shoot everything with this thing. I don't think I need to do that though. I think I'd rather just draw some cards, Infusion, and hold up an Essence Scatter. Ooh. And still Infusion and hold up an Essence Scatter and play Root Walla. Yeah, being able to use the Flowstone Infusion. The fact that this is an instant is what makes it so good. I'm very used to... Uh-oh. Oh, that's still not enough. We still get to keep Mindsinger and Micromancer. Yeah, I'm very used to those +2/-2 effects really underperforming, like Immolation back in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. But that's because it's usually like a red aura that's kind of weird. But just making that card just an instant? Actually pretty spicy. We are 6-1 now here, so we're going to be heading into what could be the final round, the final boss if we can win, and if not, we do have a second chance because we've only got one loss under the belt, so a really great draft this time around. Very good stuff from this deck. We'll see how it's going to end here as we head into what may be the final boss. Here we are in round 8, potentially the final game. I really need to hit an island here, but if I hit any land, I know I can Sprouting Goblin to make sure I get the blue source, and I'm on the draw here, and if I hit the blue source, I then have Impulse and Phyrexian Espionage to try to hit the second for Mindsinger. So there is an amount of greed involved in this keep, but it is a calculated amount of greed. Because again, we have turn 2 Root Walla, and then any land drop in our first 3 draws, because we're on the draw, means that we have turn 3 Sprouting Goblin. Literally any land in the whole deck. And turn 3 Sprouting Goblin means everything can go really smoothly from there. Grab the island, start doing Impulse, Espionage, drawing everything we need from there on. So that is the plan. That being said, we are 2 for 2 on missed land drops off our first 2 draws. Now the fingers are really crossed that we hit a land as our third draw. Preferably not a tapped land, but a tapped land would be fine. But come on, any land off the top, let's go. Come on, our opponent's got a turn 3 Sprouting Goblin. We can get the same here. Alright, we are 3 for 3 on missed land drops. We're at a literal 50-50 of drawing a land from this point on. 30 cards in deck, 15 lands in there. We have failed that coin flip. We're now at 52% chance of drawing a land. We're not doing well. Basically missed 4 coin flips in a row right now. Slightly worse odds than a coin flip on the draws before this turn, but this turn was an exact coin flip. This turn was a weighted coin flip in our favor, and we've missed again. Again, I don't think this keep was that greedy. I think we've just flipped tails 5 turns in a row, which happens. It is part of the game. Well, we're there, but it's going to be too late here. Again, this really shows off how much just the third mana really opens us up here, because we get to drop the Goblin, we'd pull out a 4th land and drop it down, but again, by now, since we've just done nothing for the first, 5 turns of the game, at that point, they just get to hold up all their mana for all the interaction and finish the game off pretty easily there. Unfortunate luck there. I stand by the keep. I think I would keep that hand. I think I'd keep that hand again, even knowing how that played out. It's just it's one of those hands you have to think of probabilistically, where it's like, yeah, 1 land drop in the first 3 to 5 turns, and we're probably in a pretty good position. 1 land drop in the first 3 turns, and we're golden. It's like we never missed a land if we had one in the first 3. But even hitting one kind of slowly, like missing for 1 turn and getting on turn 4 would still be good, so You just have to calculate how often am I gonna miss 4 land drops in a row. And unfortunately, we got the punishment there, and we did. Alright, this is much more simple to keep. No risk involved in this one. And now it's perfect. We just immediately top deck the Tangled Islet. We didn't even care what we were going to draw in this hand, but Arena was like, alright, here you go. Here's Tangled Islet. Which is like, oh, that would have been really important last game, but I'm doing fine this game, Arena. I've got a Sprouting Goblin. And I've got a Soaring Drake if I don't hit the green source. Do I even just play this Goblin? I don't think it's... I think it's almost never right to just play the Goblin as a 2-2, even if you have enough lands. Well, we're in for some bad news beats. That is a 3-mana 4/3 reach trample that comes back from the graveyard once. And that might single-handedly take over this game. What's our best bet here? Soaring Drake's not going to do anything. It's not going to block it. It's not going to attack into it. It's probably Sprouting Goblin to thin some lands out of our deck and try to hit more draws like Yavimaya Sojourner that are just big 4/6s. Try to just play bigger stuff than the Green Widow. I'm going to take another tapped land here because I have plenty of untapped lands. I just have plenty of blue and red sources. We'll take the Ridgeline. Yeah, we just try to go big here. Infusion is a thing. I want to Warbrute this turn, offer the trade into Green Widow. Not particularly. So I could just draw 2 again. Although then I'll have to discard a card. I'll have 8 cards in hand. So I guess we just on Soaring Drake. Alright, goodbye Soaring Drake. That actually feels pretty good to get an Essence Scatter out of the way for our 2/3 flyer. Normally that would feel kind of bad because a 2/3 flyer can be pretty impactful, but against, again, a 4/3 trample reach, it's not really doing anything. Our opponent has all of their mana up again, so they could very well just have a second scatter for our Sojourner, and our whole plan to block this Green Widow falls apart. I suppose we can Warbrute and hold up an Immolation. Play around the Essence Scatter. That's Essence Scatter number 2. We have to just hope they don't have Essence Scatter 3 on Sojourner. Pretty sure, like, I can block 2 for 1 myself to trade into this Green Widow, but then they still just get it back soon. The cost is reduced by 3, so it'll cost 5 mana. So if they haven't played their land for turn yet, but they might just be holding it for post-combat, so I could block Immolation, and then they could literally just go basic land, recast anyway. So I feel like I just take 4 again, but I'm getting very low. Ooh, good lord. Now opponent has their own Wrath effect at the ready. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X or less. But hey, that means they don't have Essence Scatter at the ready. So Sojourner resolves, and we can block Green Widow if they don't have removal. Alright, Vine Shaper Prodigy. We are actually blocking now. I don't love putting a Sunbathing Root Wall on this board because they can Karn Silex for 2 to destroy everything that costs 2 or less. And they'd keep their Green Widow out, kill my Goblin and Root Wall if I drop it. I think I'm still at the point I don't want to sacrifice lands yet, but I'm getting close. But I want to be able to cast Espionage and still cast whatever I draw off of it. Okay, now I've got an Impulse up. I can play the Root Walla, but again, the thing I don't like about this is Karn Silex for 2 starts to look pretty appealing to them. They lose a Vine Wall and a Prodigy, I lose a Goblin and a Root Walla. But if I don't play this out, then I don't really have a backup plan with Sojourner. Just need one way to kill Sojourner and I kind of just crumple and fall apart. I guess I do drop the Root Walla. We try to use Impulse and Sprouting Goblin's ability to draw into our next way to stabilize if they've blown up our Root Walla. Yikes. This deck is really good. Green Widow, Defiler, Vigor, Karn Silex. Our deck's very good too, but we haven't seen our rares this game. Our opponent very much has. Frost Strider? Yeah, Frost Fist Strider. Alright. Don't have the mana to use this and hold up Root Walla's ability. It's still worth it. Attack with a 4/6, what do they do? Block with both of these. Their card can come back from the grave, mine can't. I guess I could Infusion in response. Actually, probably would have been a pretty solid attack. We've got enough creatures. They can Silex for 5, but that won't kill Sojourner. So they could Silex for 8. They don't have 8 mana. Sojourner is really good against the Silex. But Defiler Vigor has a incredible effect. I guess I could have infusioned the Prodigy before that resolved, but I think it's probably better to hold it for a trick post-combat somewhere. Yeah, even tapped down, Defiler Vigor is going to absolutely take over the game. We've got one of those, but it's in our sideboard because we only have like 3 green permanents anyway. But our opponent is definitely going to show off how strong that card is. We are going to start sacking lands now. Essence Scatter. A little too late for the Defiler. Could infuse the Root Walla. They've got the 4 mana up though, so not right now. Double infusion, that's interesting. I'm just passing again. Drawing a card in their end step again. Could draw the card right now. But then the, gosh, even if I counter it, they get a counter on everything. Okay, well, we're definitely going to infusion the Root Walla. And scatter the Defiler, or the Elfame Worm. I'm putting up a fight here, but it's not good enough to beat these cards. Another Essence Scatter. I don't know, maybe it will be. Just barely, possibly. Ooh. Shore Up, Flowstone Infusion, Scatter. That's a lot of tricks. Frostfist Strider, or sorry, Root Wall's a 5/5, Strider's a 4/4. Stop playing green permanents, please, no. Just getting drowned in +1/+1 counters, this is insane. absolutely absurd. They have 16 trampling power on the board. Still no attack yet, though. Oh. We've got all our flow stones. I should have killed this Vine Shaper Prodigy a long time ago when I had the chance. I can double kick a Mind Singer. And it can't steal anything. No, it'll be a 6/6, so I can just steal the Prodigy then, I guess. And I can hold up a Shore Up after that. A Shore Up or an Infusion. I think it's stronger to hold up Shore Up. But then they could just Karn Silex for 3. They'd kill the Prodigy so they wouldn't get it back, but they would kill my Root Walla, Mind Singer, and Goblin. They'd keep their Green Widow. I mean, no, they'd kill their Green Widow. They would only have Defiler Vigor on their board, but still be pretty big. Yeah, I think I have to kind of just double kick this. Let me make sure it doesn't auto tap. Okay, so I have to double kick and hold up a blue source for Shore Up. I can't really attack into the 9/9, can I? I have been completely and utterly defiled this game. I was gonna lose my line. I was like, I swear if that's another green... No! That's another green permanent. How have they drawn so many cards? They're just casting a green card every single turn still. 4 for 4. Good gravy. Oh. I don't know what my plan is here. I have no outs. I have no outs to a 10/10 Defiler Vigor. It's just gonna kill me eventually, just not yet. I could double shoot that. They draw another card though. I've got 12 cards left in my deck. What do I have? Miria's Outrider, Eldragon, War, Flowstone, Kavu, Haunting Fimit. Yeah, I just know there's nothing in my deck that wins from this point on. Unless I could just somehow go wide enough. Maybe I whittle down their board and just go mega wide. But then they would just Karn Silex. If that ever becomes a problem, then I'd just mill out. Yeah, there's no hope when they have a Karn Silex backup. Even if I somehow just have the widest board in the world, they can just blow it all up and I'll mill out before they do. Tachiova too! Opponent's deck is unstoppable. This is just nasty stuff. Forgot to draw a card off Groblin. Sprouting Groblin. Can list in a 6/6 into the War Brute, but a 9/4 Trample is one of the smaller creatures on this board. Probably should have drawn a card again, but getting Miltooth. Is this the same? Yeah, this is the same opponent that double S and scattered me at the start. Triple scattered. Brutal. Well, I wasn't correct with my initial assessment. Oh my god, they're gonna get another Defiler Vigor. I was not correct with my initial assessment that Llanowar Green Widow was... Okay. Get another land, I guess? Oh, because it's a flyer? Sure. Yeah, that makes more sense than a second Defiler, because now they... Well, they already killed me in 2 turns. They kill me at the exact same speed as they would have otherwise. But, Yeah, my initial assessment that I was just going to die to a Lantern or a Green Widow, that was wrong. I barely stabilized and recovered to the Green Widow, and then I'm just going to die to Defiler figure. Still took a long time to die here, so that's something worth saying, but that was an incredible deck from our last round opponent. Arena really loaded up the best of the best there for the final couple of games, unfortunately, and so I am yet again not gonna trophy. I think I've only trophied once in this format so far, sadly, but 6-3, still a very respectable run, a very solid run here. And it was a pretty fun deck, pretty solid deck. We had a lot of good card advantage with double Espionage and Impulse. We had the huge bombs of Mindsinger and Elder Dragon War being great. We also won quite a few games without them, where we just played our great value cards, got some scatters at the right times, while we were just slapping our opponent with Root Ballers and War Brutes and stuff, and yeah, played out pretty well. Pretty fun draft altogether today. Shore Up was absolutely huge in a couple of those games, so that was nice. Yeah, pretty happy with it overall, but that is going to end today's draft, and that's going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.